Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the best original soundtrack of 2024. This is whatever I do the bit about good visuals, good soundtrack, yada yada yada. This year I was beating off games
What?
in both
Yeah, brother, me
categories.
too.
Nice. Fuck
There are
yeah.
so many good fucking soundtracks, so many good visuals this year. That it was very difficult for me to settle on a top three. So number three for me, a game that I'm pretty sure only I played, but this soundtrack is on Spotify, and I did find myself listening to it a lot. It is SteamWorld Heist 2. SteamWorld Heist is kind of like robot pirate themed. The first heist game was kind of more like space pirate stuff, but this is more like, you're in water in a ship. And every single time you go to like one of the hub bars, there is a live band of robots playing, and they are playing all of these like I would call it like shanty punk maybe, or like shanty rock songs. And some of them are just like, oh, this is, like I'm liking this is kind of like, a legitimately good song that I'm enjoying. There's one song that is giving very similar vibes to the house building song from Red Dead Redemption 2, about a person having a very nice hat, that I like a whole lot.
All right,
But
now you're speaking my language.
it's a really good, like, nautical shanty type soundtrack. But also just the general background music and things like that are good. But every single time you go into the bar, hearing what song it's going to like queue up, and as you progress through the game you get like more songs added, or just like, hey, they're playing a song that's kind of more specific to this environment, like the ice song. It's more of like a slower kind of somber song. But yeah, I think it's just a really really fantastic soundtrack, and again, you can listen to it on spotify.com. But Ryan, what are you going to have as your number three Spotify.com?
Spotify.com number three soundtrack game of the year. It's gonna be Adada, or however you say it. Every song that came out of that is really good. Whoever's writing those knows what the
Whoever's
fuck is
doing that,
up.
they got it.
Dude's real good. Uh no, I think it gives you a lot of really good and interesting tools that all work together really well. And they all sound good. Like good sound design, good sonic palette uh for all the songs.
I don't consider myself someone who's like musically inclined even remotely, but getting in there and like it puts enough guardrails on it that any whether you know anything about music or not, like you can make really cool stuff and like make some really cool tracks. I had a really good time just like, making stuff, then uploading and sending it to Ryan or whatever. When
Mm-hmm.
Colin was down in town for New Year's, we kind of just did a song together, and we're just kind of like, working it through for like 20 minutes, and come up with something pretty good, and then getting like, yeah, I think that it's in the same way that Electroplankton whipped ass, this also whips ass.
Good game.
We
Yeah,
need more plankton likes.
we need more Plankton likes.
Best
Uh,
game that whipped ass
that
2024.
we could do that as a category. Okay, yeah, because like that's a different thing than the best game. Okay, whatever. 2025. Uh, Lily, what was your number three?
My number three is Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's fucking Sonic music, man. It whips. Shit's dope. I don't have a lot to say except it's fucking Sonic music and it's good and you can listen to it on Spotify.com.
I'm infiltrating. I'm slowly getting
It's
in.
Sonic music, man. You live and
Um,
you learn, you know?
But you can hardly swallow.
you not only get like really in the part that's just like Generations again, like whatever, that's cool and all, but with the Shadow Generation stuff, you do get like a lot of new music and new remixes on kind of a lot of stuff that the original Generations didn't have. It's quite
sick.
good.
It's real
What if they
good.
made a movie where they remix Live and Learn 3 different times over the
What
course?
if?
What if?
Maybe one day.
I don't
One
think it
time.
would do very well.
Don't worry, it was great. There was an orchestral one. It was fucking amazing. Jason, what was your number 3?
My number 3, a game I've already talked about a little bit, is Astrobot. I think I had just a very upbeat soundtrack, particularly in like the base world. And watching the PlayStation 5 sing to you was always good. But just some good tunes that feel right with such a simple kind of pleasant platforming game. We giggle about.
I just noticed Ryan has Heavy Rain as a speaker.
Oh, that's why I
He
laughed.
changed-
That's why I laughed while you were doing the intro to
Yeah,
this
same.
section.
Dash
I want
also
to make
only
editing
looks
easier
at
for
Dash.
you.
Keep going.
That's pretty much all I had. I don't know if anyone has any other comments on Astrobot soundtrack.
Just
no,
the sound design of
more
the
like
whole game is really
Astrobot.
good.
I'll kill
Got 'em.
you. It's also really good about like using that main like leitmotif of the ba 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 da ba 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 ba, that like just kind of interluding that throughout all sorts of different
Mhm.
things I really like.
It's my favorite Mario song.
Yeah, it's
It
quite
doesn't
good.
have enough ba ba in it.
Hunter, what you were talking shit. What is your third favorite Mario song?
My third favorite Mario song on Spotify.com, thank you for sponsoring us, is Metaphor Refantasio. Because that battle theme's really good. The Virga Island theme's really good. There's a bit where you fight like the main bad guy, but it's not like the ending. And that song is really fucking good too. It's got a lot of good songs.
I
And it's
hated
like-
that battle music so much that I paid $5 to get different music.
It's I love how different it is from like the only other
The
like
Gregorian chanting.
yeah, the only other like game by Atlas that it's similar to is Strange Journey, where like the battle theme when you ambush an enemy, it's like spooling up, and then there's some guy who just chimes in like
I hate it so
It's amazing.
Oh,
Seriously, listen to the Virga Island theme when you get a second.
most
It's
divisive
awesome.
already in the works. Danny, what is your number 3 soundtrack?
My number 3 soundtrack, once again hitting something where like it's the best part of a very mediocre game. Princess Peach Showtime.
Forgot that game came out.
Nintendo,
Hell yeah.
with their first party properties, really likes to go hard with their music. All of the songs in that game really fit the environment, and they were just like the intro music is just a lovely little piece that I would leave on in the background sometimes just to have some
Just to feel
nice
something.
To avoid
Yeah,
playing the game.
Yes. It's a very like that is a game for tiny babies. But it's very cute and the music is excellent. So
Nintendo make good music.
Nintendo make
Who'd
good
have
music.
thought?
Who'da thunk? You ever
Not
heard of
on-
these guys?
not on
These-
my
these-
list.
These young guns.
They're upcoming.
Don't they make playing cards or something?
They have their own app for their music.
I think if they practiced a little bit, they could really be
They can make
something.
some good in Odada, maybe.
If they're
So that'll bring us back around. My number 2 is once again getting the pizza vote of confidence because I was playing it in the living room and she was like, "God damn, that music's really good," which normally she doesn't go for like video game music even remotely, and super hates it when it comes onto the car. This one is unfortunately not on Spotify.com, but if you want to pull it up on YouTube, highly advocate listening to it, especially I think the second stage track is probably my favorite, but also it's bangers top to bottom. But it is Doom 2 Legacy of Rust. This was a new expansion for Doom 2 that came out. It's an official WAD. Machine Games, did either in entirely the development, or at least partial development on it.
I think it's a collab between Machine Games and some pretty famous WAD developer.
It not only fucks heaps from a gameplay perspective, but the music is so amazing throughout it. Like I was not even remotely expecting this to come up on my list or like rank so high. But yeah, I was just absolutely fucking floored with how good Legacy of Rust soundtrack is.
I think it's better than the Doom 2 soundtrack.
Easily. Oh yeah, easily. I would argue it's the best Doom music, maybe.
It might be, since it's at least got a bit more originality, since it's not all rip-offs of
Yeah,
90s metal
B1A1.
songs.
What do you mean?
It's so good. Yeah, I mean, not only should people play Legacy of Rust because it's cool, but like even if you don't, listen to that fucking soundtrack. It is a great time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass it over to Ryan. Tell me about a great time.
I think as kind of a joint effort between soundtrack and sound design, Balatro or Balatro, however you pronounce it. It does a really good job of, the music is there kind of keeping you engaged and locked in and burning away all your time. And then the sound design especially is just some of the most satisfying watching numbers go up.
Line, like when a card, gets counted. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's both
had-
of those.
I had trouble putting it in soundtrack because the soundtrack wasn't necessarily what I loved about the sound design, but everything in that game, like just flipping cards, like there's a tactile sound to it, and I think it contributes immensely to why that game feels so good to play. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Lily, do
Thanks,
you
I
have a
picked
good
it myself.
pick for number 2?
My number 2 is a game that I didn't expect to like as much as I did. It's Kind Words 2.
Oh yeah,
And it's only kind of a game.
Hence the
but
name.
It's only kind of
Yeah,
words.
sounds like it.
You're right. But it's just like a little city. I don't know. You have like a bedroom where you can just send out these anonymous messages of like, this is what's going on in my life. And you can read other people's and give anonymous advice or just feedback and like send them little stickers. It's a very cute game. It's all lo-fi pop music, but it's made by the same guy who did Slay the Spire. And it's all
Interesting.
pretty good music.
Kind words.
It's good to
rules.
leave on in the background. It is on Spotify.com.
Spotify, please sponsor us.
Yeah, just cute little lo-fi songs, good vibes.
Completely agree. I didn't fuck with Kind Words 2 at all, but I do like the first one. So yeah, I'm guessing it's more of that.
Yeah.
Jason, tell me
Oh.
something you fucked with, and why you positioned and then repositioned away from your titties.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I needed to see the bottom of the screen behind my screen, and I couldn't see it where my mouse was going.
Okay. Tell me your number 2.
My number 2, another game we've talked about in another category for a game that has a couple really cool things about it, but is also not good.
Yo,
Um,
I know what it is.
Neva.
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah.
game sounded amazing and had some really nice visuals, but the game itself just not fun.
Pretty
I'm
mid.
never gonna finish it.
Combat
Same.
sucked and gameplay was not interesting. And then maybe, I don't know, I think I played a third of it. But I love the soundtrack. It's the only soundtrack that I've like listened to outside of playing the game. It was really good study music because it's not lyrical and it just has some good variation across the game, across the soundtrack, but I didn't get to hear very much of the soundtrack while actually playing the game.
A
I've
third
heard
of
the
that
whole-
soundtrack is really
but
good.
But I've
Yeah,
listened to
the
the whole
first third.
soundtrack all the way through a bunch of times, just not actually while playing the game.
You should play Gree sometime. It's what if Neva was a limbo and really good.
That does sound good.
It's quite good.
I think it's on
think-
Game Pass too.
I think I gave that an award last year for game that didn't come out that year.
I believe
Huh.
you did, and I have talked about that game multiple times in years that it didn't come out. I believe that game made me cry. It's been a while since I
It's
played
quite good. But Hunter, Tell me a soundtrack that made you cry as your number 2.
Gree is on Game Pass, by the way. My number 2 is Cryptmaster, because not only does it look really nice, there's some really good fucking tracks on there, which I was not expecting, honestly. There's also one really weird one that has like car horns and like cartoon bonk sounds in it. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Clown
But
music.
yeah, it was like clown music, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? But like the rest of it's great. That one was just really confusing.
Yeah, big ups on the Cryptmaster soundtrack. Cryptmaster, cool.
Mm.
We might talk about it later.
Doubt it.
Danny, but what's something we can talk about right now as the number 2 soundtrack?
We can talk about a game that I'm curious if anyone else touched. Zenless Zone Zero.
God damn it. I thought about it like the part of me where it's like I should probably see what's up here wanted me to do it, but here we are.
This game constantly surprised me. I had zero expectations
Yeah,
for it.
Lost Zen Zero.
Zenless Zone Zero is a free-to-play game. I'm
It's a
playing it on.
Hoyoverse game.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, same creators as Genshin Impact.
Good one, Jason.
I have not played Zenless Zone Zero, but I've seen a lot of pornography of the characters.
Is it backwards for
I'm
everyone
not
else?
surprised about that.
No, it's forward for me.
It's backwards
Oh wait,
for
but
me.
we're on soundtrack here. Okay, no, you go.
Yeah. So soundtrack for it though, oftentimes gave me like Persona 5 vibes, honestly. Like it was jazzy, it fit all of the scenarios. Especially in the sort of downtime parts of the game though, you had that sort of nice easy background jazz that like I I just kept feeling like I was playing Persona 5, which is always a good thing for me whenever it's at least in terms of sound design. Um, it was I was not expecting anything of that game, and I have it is the one of only 2 games that I have actually listened to outside of playing the game. So yeah, it's there's that game is worth giving a shot. There is a lot to dislike about it, as one could expect from a free to play gotcha game, but still, it's it'll come up more as we go along.
Burnus, go. That's
Weekend at Burnus
I
2.
know that song from it,
Mm.
and it's pretty catchy.
It's
It's pretty
a
catchy.
lot of the songs are very catchy.
On the topic of catchy, we'll wrap back around to my number 1, which is not only the best soundtrack objectively, it is the most soundtrack objectively. What if you had a game that not only featured like I think it's something like 60 or 70 main tracks, but then every single time one of those tracks is playing and you get into a battle, you get a unique remix of it. Including there is one song that will only play during a specific side quest if you happen to get in a battle while escorting a dog. I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We have very much been on record saying like, yeah, Final Fantasy's got pretty good music, even though most of those games kind of suck ass. But Final Fantasy VII
Final
Rebirth,
Fantasy VII Rebirth.
fuck you. We'll talk. Fuck you. We'll talk about it. It's an amazing soundtrack. In particular, like if I out of that massive like set of songs, if I had to pick one thing out, the song or the remix of Battle at the Bridge that plays when you fight the secret boss is amazing. It's like 7 minutes long. It has so many movements to it.
It's prog rock.
It remixes in like bits of the main Final Fantasy VII battle theme while doing this, so it's kind of like a mixture of the Final Fantasy V song and some Final Fantasy VII music, but it's done like hard rock guitars, metal over it, and it's chef's kiss. But there's also it has just a ton of good music. Stuff like the Gold Saucer is really, really good. It's a phenomenal soundtrack.
There's also I will say it's not the best music portion of the game, but there is a mini game throughout the game where you are playing classic Final Fantasy songs on a piano. And,
oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and as you do better with the piano mini game, your the composition that plays will get more and more complex. And it is a nice little interactive piece of the soundtrack that I thoroughly enjoyed.
It also does like fuck up in real time if you miss your timing in the rhythm game for it.
If you fuck up enough, it will just activate a metronome for you.
It's basically treated like a collectible of you finding the sheet music and then playing it on the various pianos in the game. It's really good. Final Fantasy has great music. Who would have guessed? They should make a rhythm game out of just Final Fantasy music.
They
That would
should
be
make,
cool.
They should
like
make a couple
3 or
of
4
those.
of those. Yeah.
Ryan, tell me a game that they
Yes.
should make a rhythm game out of, and also if it's number one, I think I know what it is, and that rhythm game would kick hella ass.
Yeah, I agree. So they should make a rhythm game of Doom 1+2 featuring Legacy of Rust.
See a Rhythm Doom.
Yeah. So everything Dash said about Legacy of Rust is absolutely true. Those songs got stuck in my head. It was just regularly playing while I was at work doing work. And while I was at work not doing work. But I also want to shout out, they went back through for this remaster and they did Doom 1 and Doom 2 with live instruments as an option to set your soundtrack to. And it's really good. So instead of having to hear the MIDI files, which do sound good, you can hear it with like real guitar, real drums, all done for both of the games. And it's awesome.
Good game.
Good game.
Good DLC.
Good DLC, good music. I mean, Doom's always had great music, so every time they release a Doom remaster, it's probably going to show up somewhere on my soundtrack list.
You want M1 goes hard. Lily, tell me something that you think goes hard.
Well, speaking of Doom, let's talk about Motor Doom.
Oh my god.
It's
Okay,
not.
yeah.
It's
All right.
not.
Sure.
I like
Now let's
it.
talk about this. This will be the one time we talk. Wait, let me look. This might not be the one time we talk about. Okay, keep going.
Wait a minute.
Motor Doom is a Tony Hawk like bullet hell. And it's a lot of fun. I think the music pairs perfectly with what you do in the game.
That's true.
Like it's not music that I have listened to outside of playing it, but every time I do play it, and I have gone back to it, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking rip these dudes to shreds with a chainsaw on a motorcycle.
Let's and not play
With the
ska.
Boner Brothers.
Yeah,
I do love the Boner Brothers.
who doesn't love the Boner Brothers?
All right, I got to update character. Hold on.
Jason, what's your number one?
So my number one is Balatro. We've already talked about it a little bit.
Boo, boo, boo,
But I just think the one song and the sound design is just kind of hypnotizing and just adds to the relaxation of just settling into the game for a few hours. You'd think it would get annoying just being the same thing on a loop, but it never does. I didn't even really realize that it was just a song looping until someone pointed it out, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's I really hesitate to say elevator music, but like it's that good thing if you just don't think about it, but you're glad it's there. It's quite good.
The ambient album of the year.
Like, it would be unsettling if it wasn't there,
Mhm.
and if it was just the
Mhm.
flickering of the
Oh
cards.
god, I don't like the idea of that. That's horrifying.
Play with the music.
I played Balatro with no sound on a couple of times, and
It doesn't.
Chills.
not as good. You feel the time.
Hunter, give me some music that gave you some chills.
Okay, so I put Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance because the original SMT5 had 117 songs on its soundtrack. This one has 89 that are all new,
God
as
damn
far
it.
as I can tell.
It is the most music shit.
Yeah, sorry, Dash.
Fuck.
And like when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck do you mean there's 89 new tracks? Why did like as far I do they do reuse some of the old stuff too, but it's like they even remade the original like regular battle theme. And it's like, what why? Like I like it, don't get me wrong, but why?
They have a composer on staff, and he's getting paid. So
I just realized you could have done a Shin Megami Tensei hat trick for soundtrack this year.
Yeah,
That
I thought about it,
I
but I
just
was like,
realized that as you were
no.
saying this out loud.
Yeah. I could have put Persona 3 Reload or something instead of Crypt Master, but I was
Burn
like,
your bread.
nah,
Now, Career Master deserves it. Danny,
exactly.
tell
Plus,
me
like,
something that
no.
deserves it.
Something that deserves it. I will say, Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Uh, I
Yeah.
yeah, it does that Zelda music real well. Always iconic. Um, but this one, a lot of the tracks in this game kind of felt like if you the best blend of Legend of Zelda with like Studio Ghibli music. Just the instrumentation, the composition of these songs. Uh, it's it's not the most exciting pick, but it is just high quality
Hey, sometimes the
music.
Yeah,
obvious choice is the right choice.
Yeah,
it was my number 4. I really liked it.
yeah. Again, Nintendo, they've got great composers that they work with, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of the music that I heard in that game. It contributed to the like heavy nostalgia that game reaches back to A Link to the Past a lot, which was uh, my first or second Zelda game that I ever played, and yeah, the music is nostalgic in some of the best ways.
It's very linked to the past.
Yeah, it's very linked to the past. So yeah, uh, Legend of Zelda is my number one pick soundtrack of the year.
Congratulations to winners of the only gaming award show that matters.
Just an honor to be nominated.
Just an
really.
honor to not be nominated, really, but we're not talking about any of our nominations. We do that on a different day. But that's going to bring us to a close for best soundtrack. We hope that you will join us next time for best story or writing. We'll see you then.